The door is wide open for Pitt to win the ACC regular season title. But even with that, are they still a tournament lock? Let's talk about today on this episode of Locked On Pitt.
You are Locked On Pitt, your daily podcast on the Pittsburgh Panthers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Pitt podcast, everybody. And we have a lot to talk about. As always, I'm your host, Nick Faribault, here on the Locked On Pitt podcast, your daily podcast, all things Pittsburgh Panthers related. And we got to talk about this because it's still a question. Even though Pitt is up there with the top teams in the ACC, there's no guarantee that they will be dancing in 2 weeks' time on Selection Sunday. But they're close. And truly, I believe that. So let me put it into perspective for you, kind of where they have to be, where they have to go, and where they have to really put the finishing touches on everything, in my opinion, in order to make it to the tournament. And it's very simple. It's one task. Beat Notre Dame. I've said this many times before. If this team beats Notre Dame, they will make it to the NCAA tournament. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm right on that. They will be a stone-cold lock. I said going into this key stretch, this last 4-game stretch, beat Georgia Tech, beat Syracuse, and beat Notre Dame. And you're in. And I still believe that. And when you look at this, Pitt's resume is a really interesting one because it's not very similar to a lot of teams that are in their spot. Because they have the wins. And they're on the road, too. They have good road wins. And that makes what Pitt has done in this season very unique and why they're in such a good position. They haven't racked up a ton of bad losses. You know, at times, that Clemson loss has dipped down into quarter 3. That Florida State loss is still a tough one, but we saw this week when Florida State gets going, they can give you issues. And so you look at this team, and they've built a resume with wins over UVA, wins over Miami, wins over NC State, wins over Northwestern. I mean, they've won a lot of really good games. And Northwestern, NC State on the road, in Chapel Hill. I just look at some of these wins. They have a really solid resume because of their road wins and their road records. And that's why Pitt, to me, has a good chance, a very good chance at that, to make it. And all they have to do is win. All they have to do is win. And so, Notre Dame is the one bad team with the Quadrant 4, or Quadrant 3, actually. That's a Quadrant 3 game left on their resume. That's all they need. Pitt's metrics suck. And the metrics hate the net rating, all of that. They aren't good. But still, you look at Pitt, and right now, they just have a really good resume that they've built around themselves that has made a lot of good things happen for them. And so they're not a lock yet. They're not a lock yet. But you look at the resume, and it's certainly stronger than a lot of teams behind them. And so they win that game. They're in. Because here's the thing about Pitt that everything I explained should take into consideration. Like the big view, if you're looking at a macro level, here's the truth about Pitt's resume. They've built up the good wins, right? They have a good win. That Northwestern win looks better by the day. North Carolina State's a big win. Virginia's a signature win. Miami's a big win. They have really good wins. And that means a lot because Pitt has built up that reputation of being able to beat those teams. Even if it's by 2, 3, whatever. That's why the metrics hate them, by the way. They don't have a ton of blowout losses. They don't have a ton of blowout wins. But Pitt has one thing that a lot of teams don't have, and that is that strong road resume. And so they avoid any more bad losses, and that would be Notre Dame. And they're in. They're in. Simple as that. Because they won't have any more bad losses on their resume. Obviously, with the ACC tournament still coming, depending on their opponent, but they're very close to getting a double bye here, and just not having to worry about that at all. And so, really, you look at this team's resume, and it continues to strengthen. And so, one more bad loss could drive them back a little bit and could make things shaky, but otherwise, I think they win. They're a lock. And I think they win. They're playing with house money down in Miami. Man, I would not want to be Miami with Pitt playing loose like that. Because there's two ways you could look at that if Pitt does win this Notre Dame game. That's going to be a game, emotionally charged last home game for Mike Bray, ever Notre Dame, and all that. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Pitt knows that as much as anybody. But I'll tell you what, they win that game and they go into Miami having clinched to share the ACC title and, feeling pretty good about themselves for the tournament. Man, they're playing with house money. I'm not sure I'd want to be the Canes with Pitt playing like that, because when Pitt plays loose, man, they play dominant basketball at times. But we'll see. I think Pitt just has to win against Notre Dame, and I think they're in. So that would be obviously the ideal. Just take the pressure out, do what you can, and get in, even if you're not getting the respect. And it's pretty clear at this point you ain't going to get the respect unless you do something crazy like run the table and win the ACC tournament, which is possible. But you're not going to get that great respect. So you may as well not wallow in it and just take care of business for where you are. And that's kind of what Pitt has to do this year. Just accept where they are, regardless of how other people view them. Because it's clear that they're not going to be viewed in a super favorable light just because the national perception of the ACC. But I want to talk about kind of that and paired with the ACC Championship that Pitt could potentially win on Wednesday. Let's talk about it. But first, folks, I want to let you know about Built Bar, because if you're looking for a delicious treat, but you don't want all those fat and calories, you got to try a Built Bar. Built Bar is healthy, but it's actually tasty. Seriously. They're so delicious, you won't actually think they're good for you, but they're perfect for anyone looking to add something that's healthy and tasty to their palate. Folks, what makes Built Bar so good? Well, here's the thing. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right. All real chocolate. And listen, they come in unbelievably with flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, coconut almond, and I'm still not sure how they do it, but listen, it tastes great, but it's even healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. You can check it out and order on built.com to get your Built Bars. But here's the thing. You can also go to your nearest Walmart today, go to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. There's 4-bar boxes of cookies and cream, double chocolate or coconut puffs, or if you have a Sam's Club near you, you can get a 13-bar box with hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro. You can thank me later for those. Folks, you want to try them out, make sure to head to built.com today. All right, folks. Let me talk to you guys about where Pitt stands right now in the landscape of the ACC. And you tell me if you would have thought this would be the case all the way back in November when you saw that they were, first of all, picked 14th to finish in the preseason ACC poll. Now, however, they are sitting atop the top 25. They're sitting atop the ACC. And more importantly, they control the destiny. They control it. They don't need any help. They just need to do what they need to do. They win one, they got a share. That's as simple as it is. That's all they have to do. No one would have thought heading into March that Pitt, in the last week of the season before the ACC tournament, would have a chance to win even a share of the ACC regular season title. And yet here we are. That, my friends, is what makes this honestly special. Low expectations of this team to just climb up like that. I mean, that would be special. And it would be hanging the rafters. That would be a legacy. Feels a lot like the 2001 season, doesn't it? Where Pitt climbs out of the ashes and just has a year that they've wanted. That really is the type of year this is having. It's got magical types of feels to it. And they're that close. And honestly, it really feels like they're just on the cusp of everything. You know, maybe they'll get that top 25 soon. Pitt in the driver's seat to win the ACC Championship. Who would have ever thought, man? That is something that is going to be absurd if they end up doing it. And you really hope they do, because you know that they are ready for it. You know they are. And so I look at where they stand right now, and you can't help but just have that pride in you. How it feels to have this team playing like this. There's never going to be another season like this, hopefully. And what I say by that is you come in, predict to finish 14th in the conference, and then you have this soaring expectation where you're now 21-8. You know, hopefully that doesn't happen. And it's weird, too, because the ACC is perceived to be awful, to be quite honest with you. I mean, the metrics say the Mountain West is considerably better than the ACC this year. And yet, metrics don't aggregate for teams improving down the stretch. And so you get knocked for losing to what the metrics say are bad teams, but they might not be right now, right? Look at Florida State. That's a team that's gotten better. You know, they were really banged up, and it's not like they have a great team this year, but they absolutely are better than their record is and what their metrics say. So teams like Pitt that lost to them are going to get crushed for it, man. They're just going to get smoked for it. Notre Dame. I mean, look at what Notre Dame has done in their recent games. They took Duke to the wire, took Virginia to the wire, took UNC to the wire, put up a good fight with Wake. Like, this is a reason why I say this is not going to be a cakewalk for Pitt. Because look at what Notre Dame has done. They've improved over the season. They haven't won that one yet. They haven't jocked the team just yet. They haven't clipped the team just yet. Over the past 2 weeks, it's been a much improved team. And so you got to watch out for teams like this. Clemson lost to Louisville, and now they're all of a sudden soaring better than they ever did this year. I mean, it's a strange league. And for Pitt to have the consistency to really take only one bad loss, when you look at other teams that have taken multiple bad losses, even Virginia, you got to feel good about that if you're Pitt, man. They've just been a really consistent team. And that is a thing that you should be very proud of if you're Pitt. Because it's hard to be consistent in a league like this. It's a blessing and a curse. When 11 of your 20 games are quadrant 3 or 4 or lower, thanks to in the net rating, you better win about 10 of those 11 games because 2 of them could really tank your stock. And that's what Pitt had to deal with. If you count Clemson, it's 12. So it's really hard to play a schedule like that. You're going to trip up once. It's just going to happen. It's basketball, man. You know, every good team has a slip up somewhere along the way. You're not always going to play at a high level. You're not always going to come through and stun the world. You're going to have off nights. It's just going to happen. I think that's what we're continuing to see here. A lot of these ACC teams, man, it's just tough to play those games and win all of them. Against teams that have improved, too. And so, you know, even great teams like Kansas, for example, they're a lock to be a number 1 seed, right? How do you explain them going to Ames and getting blown out by 15? You know, Iowa State's a good team, but they're not 15 points better than Pitt, than Kansas, right? And clearly, teams just have off days. And so Pitt sometimes finds they face a bad team and they have an off day. Or the team has a great day, one of their best shooting days of the entire year. When you look at, for example, the Florida State loss. Florida State shot the absolute lights out of the ball. Or NC State runs into a Clemson team that puts 96 on them and shoots unreal from the floor. I mean, they shot over 60% from the floor and from downtown. That's why they won. It wasn't even bad defense sometimes. Basketball is not always a game that is easy to stay stable in. And so I give Pitt a lot of credit, man. Especially after what was an awful start. Like, the tone that was set at the beginning of this year, when you get smacked in the mouth by West Virginia, when you get smoked by Michigan, and then you lose to VCU, it is bad vibes, man. Pitt didn't let it get to them. I really find that impressive. It's so impressive to me to watch that team grow from where they are to now. I give it to them. And the senior leadership has been so good. And they're in the proposition to win the ACC. They should win the ACC as long as they take care of business. Again, that game on Wednesday isn't a gimme game. It absolutely ain't a gimme game. But they're going to be favored to win it. And they should win it. So absolutely. They should win this game. And Pitt should be having a share of the ACC crown. What a season that would be. What a poetic ending to this. It would be when you've got ACC Coach of the Year, Jeff Capel, an ACC Player of the Year candidate, Jamarius Burton. You got a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, Federico, with how he's played. I mean, this team has just come together so well. And even if they're not a lock to make the NCAA tournament yet, because of the metrics, because of what everybody thinks of the ACC, if you're a Pitt fan, how can you not be proud of what you've seen? It has been that type of season. Just in the air, man. Something in the air feels a little bit different. It really does. And so this is a special season for Pitt. It's continuing to go on. Really hope we get to see them in the NCAA tournament. And I think we will as long as they win on Wednesday, or they can win on Saturday. That could work too. 1-1 in these last two games should do it for them. 2-0 gets them to move up a couple seed lines. They do some more in the ACC tournament, couple more up. What's the max that they can reach? Probably a 6 seed, but they can do it. This team is a lot of fun to watch, and this team does it all so well as a unit. You got to love to see that for the Panthers. All right, folks, as always, thank you for listening. Be back tomorrow. We'll talk about some more Pitt basketball as we approach that Notre Dame game. As always, folks, thanks for listening, and hail to Pitt.